Hi, everybody, and welcome to our What's New in Enscape 3.3 for Revit 2023 webinar. We are so excited here today to be bringing you the guys from Enscape to go ahead and shed some light here and show us what's new. Just real quick before we get over to them and to the presentation, Dan, can you go ahead and jump over to that slide? Perfect. So just some logistics to get out of the way. All attendee lines will be muted for the presentation. If you do have questions throughout the presentation, please go ahead and send those over in the chat box. And as the presentation goes on, send those questions over. And at the very end, we'll actually go ahead and jump into answering those questions for you. The webcast will be recorded. That you can find that on our website and on the YouTube channel. And if you registered for this webinar, you'll receive that video actually over email as well, typically in the next day or so. Any questions, concerns, anything like that, you can go ahead and give us a call here at the office, 305-445-6480, or email us at info@ddscad.com. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Dan and Josh from Enscape to go ahead and take it away.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. My name is Dan Monahan. I'm the business leader for Enscape here in the Americas, and I'm very excited to have Josh Rattle, our applications engineer, with me today to talk about what's new in Enscape 3.3 for Revit 23. Before I get started, I just wanted to share with you some helpful resources, some useful resources that I thought you might want to know about. So first is really for frontline support. If you have questions when you're evaluating the trial or if you're going through Enscape, the new version, a really great resource for frontline support is our knowledge base. It's really the best place to start if you have any questions. With a simple keyword search, you can find answers to most commonly asked questions about Enscape. Second is the blog. If you're not already subscribed to the blog, I'd really encourage you to do so. It's really a great way to stay up to date with the latest company and product news. And then lastly, for helpful tips and tricks, please sign up for our YouTube channel. There you'll find recorded webinars, posts from our users, and videos from other industry influencers. It's a really great learning resource as you're not only getting up and running in Enscape, but also as you're trying to hone your Enscape skills. Now, before I turn it over to Josh, I know that there's some attendees that are new to Enscape. So I just wanted to give a little bit of background about who we are and kind of what we're doing. I think when most people think of rendering or Enscape, it's these kind of images that come to mind, these kind of photorealistic images. And while this is very important and is definitively something that we output, I think subtly and maybe even more importantly is how Enscape and real-time rendering is improving the entire design process, not just for presentation purposes. Traditionally, 3D visualization, it's been a task that's been isolated and kind of disconnected from the total design process. What we find in most firms is that these firms stop design in order to visualize, or in some cases, the firm design forks, and then the design is sent to a specialty viz team or even subbed out of house completely while the design team continues with their work. And as you can see from this slide, these workflows are kind of disjointed, right? And there's a real cost for this disjointed workflow, not only in the lost time of having to manually coordinate this data, but also the costs that happen when there are coordination errors or when things are missing in this. And this cost may be okay if we were only to justify this kind of model exchange once, but as you know, design is iterative. And so this fork and this disconnected workflow, this coordination has to happen frequently in the design process. And that's one of the problems that Enscape is here to solve. Enscape is different than a traditional viz program. It's different in the sense that it's a plugin. It's not a standalone rendering application. And as a plugin, it seamlessly integrates into the Revit interface, but also into your BIM workflow. The great part about Enscape is that because it seamlessly integrates into the Revit interface, if you know how to add a light or a material in Revit, you already know how to use Enscape. The results are just faster and way more impressive. So the big advantage of Enscape is with Enscape, you can visualize design changes as they happen. You can instantly see the impact your design decisions have on a building's architecture and its construction, and you can quickly validate your design ideas and get to decision points faster. You're not having to export to a separate program, render something, and then coordinate those changes. Everything done is in real time. And because you can do this in real time, you can actually immerse your clients and other stakeholders into your models. You can navigate around your designs in 3D and really allow them to experience your design intent. And this idea of real-time visualization, this idea of understanding your changes as they're happening is really, I think, the core benefit that we can offer. Of course, we've improved this in Enscape 3.3. And with that, I'd like to turn the presentation over to Josh and have Josh run us through some of the improvements that we've made in this latest version. Josh?
All right, thanks, Dan. All right, start by sharing the screen here. All right, age-old question. Can everybody see my screen okay? Dan, you see my screen?
Yep, good,
Yes.
good to go.
Always got to ask that these days now. All right, so one of the biggest features for Enscape 3.3 that we introduced was this feature called site context feature. So what you're going to do is you're going to go inside your Enscape window here. There's a little new icon right in between the asset library and the video editor. So what you're going to do is click that button. Down at the bottom, there's a button called Add Site Context. Now what that's going to do is that's going to pull up a menu where this is going to be pulling OpenStreetMap data. So what you're going to do now is type in anywhere in the location, anywhere in the world that you would like, or where the project's being built. So for this project, I'm in Minnesota. I know there's some new developments going up in Minnesota here, up in St. Paul. So what we can do now is I can zoom in here, and I know there's a new development going up across the bridge here, so I can take my little marker here and move my building to exactly where this is actually going to be. And what I can do now is, again, just position this wherever the building is actually going to be. Yep, so it's right here. And I can rotate this into position as well. It's actually, yep, it's right here. Here we go. And now what I can do is I can hit this fit window, the location button. And what that's going to do is that's going to give me a 1 meter or 1,000 meter, 1 by 1,000 meter square. I can adjust this as well, depending on how big I would like that to be as well. And now all I have to do is actually right about, that's what it's actually, good thing I double checked it. And then again, I can rotate this into position here. Again, fit to location, make it a little bit bigger so we can see. And now what this is going to do is this is actually going to put the import button here. This is actually going to use OpenStreetMap, and it's going to pull all that information from OpenStreetMap into our Enscape window here. So it's going to pull in the roads. It's going to create little blocks for massing models as well. And we can see here. Here is where our new site is going to be and where this building is actually going to sit on the site. So this is a very great way to be able to get some quick iterations and early stage designs for how this space is actually going to look on the site. What I can do is I can hide that if I need to as well. If I click on any block, it's going to show me the exact building that it actually is. Again, this is using OpenStreetMap data as well. I can click on any roads as well that it's going to pull up. So again, this is actually the correct road, East Fillmore Avenue. And I can, if I want, I can hide all the buildings as well if I need to. I can hide all the roads. But this is a very great way to be able to show the building in the space before it's actually going to be built. So if I'm looking outside my balcony here, I can actually see good representation of what is actually going to be seen when we're looking outside this window here. Now I can do some things as well, like I can rotate the site if I need to. If I go up to these 3 dots and then I hit edit site, what I can do is I'm going to get the option to rotate the site. I can rotate it even more if I need to, or I can move the whole site just by clicking and dragging and moving around. And once I like that, all I got to do is hit confirm changes. If you use this feature and your site is way below or way above, what you're going to do is hit edit site context and hold down control, and then you're going to see a little marker pull up. And then what you're going to do is move that up and down. And there's where you can adjust the position and the height of your site to fit the ground plane of your site. Now, if I'm ready, all I got to do is hit confirm changes. Another really cool thing about this feature is I can utilize our Enscape asset library button as well. So this is where I can start placing Enscape assets inside of the model. Let's go back and hit vegetation. So I can start placing trees anywhere in the site that would actually need that. So let's say I want some trees. All I have to do is start clicking and placing. Again, wherever I want to place some trees on my site, a couple trees around the building. So on the other side as well. All I gotta do is hit apply changes, and that's gonna push those changes, at least for the Enscape assets, back inside of Revit or any other design application that we're using. For the site context feature, the site won't actually get put back inside of Revit. It's only going to stay inside the Enscape window. There we go. And again, if I need to edit the site or anything like that, just go back to edit site, and then I can hit update site context if I need more space, or if I need to shrink it down. All I have to do is hit update site, and then I can expand this if I need to. So I can see a little bit more, and then just click import, and it's going to re-import the rest of the site that I just selected. So it's just going to update that quick, and then again, this is going off OpenStreetMap data. There we go. Perfect. So there's my new. There's the rest of my site that I have imported. So again, very good for early stage designs to get some good conceptual designs on what the space is actually going to look like. We can also utilize this as early stage design if we go into what we call white mode, where it's going to turn everything in the scene completely white for us. There we go. So again, now it's a true like schematic, more early stage designs, and I can even adjust the outlines as well to get that cool sketch look. There we go. I can adjust my shot and get some really nice, get some nice renderings, get some nice detail in there as well too. Yeah. So that was our biggest hero feature, was that site context feature. So the next feature that we introduced was this Enscape always on top option. So what do I mean by this? So if you're traveling or if you're working on a single monitor, Enscape was always wouldn't live on top of the window. So if I had Revit full screen, like here I'll full screen Revit now. And then if I go back inside of Revit, Enscape would always go behind it, or any other design application. So now we have implemented a new Enscape always on top. So it can be that true real-time window into your model. So I can keep working inside my Revit model, and Enscape's just gonna live on top and again, be that true real-time window into my model here. So now how we get to that feature is on the far right-hand side of the Enscape window, there's a little gear icon. If you go into input, there's a button. Oh, sorry, if you go to device preferences, sorry about that. If you go to window, that's where you're going to activate the Enscape always on top for post application. So if I uncheck that and I start working in Revit, Enscape would go behind that and vice versa. So I actually personally really like this feature for when I'm traveling. I can just work on single monitors on my laptop and just keep working. And also having the Enscape window be a little bit smaller, it'll help save on performance as well for your card. So again, really cool feature that we implemented. It was a much heavily requested feature as well. So the next feature that we have is what we call our alpha channel support. So if we're taking renderings into like Photoshop, or if we're further compositing, or if we're doing presentations, it was kind of hard to have a background removed from our renderings. So now with Enscape 3.3, we have the ability to render alpha channels. So if we go to our visual settings tab, far right hand corner here, and now if we go to output, you're going to see you get the options to still export object ID map, material ID map, and depth map. Now we have the option to export an alpha channel. So, and it has to be a PNG. So let's say I want to render this image here. All I have to do is click render screenshot, tell it where I want it to go. And from here, this is going to start rendering my different images, and then I'm going to get an alpha channel. So then I can bring these into Photoshop and do further compositing with them if I'd like, or if I'm doing a presentation, and again, if I need the background removed, this is where it will remove that image for me. So here is our image. We can see the background is removed, so it's completely transparent. So if I brought this into Photoshop, I could throw in different background images, so we can actually do that as well. So we can see exactly what that's going to look like to really help do more further compositing as well with that. And also, so while that's loading, I still get the different material maps, so I still get the depth map, the material ID map. Again, these are all for further compositing as well. So there's those different material maps. All right, perfect. Photoshop is loaded now. So what I can do is just click and drag my image that I want inside of here. So we can see the background image is completely transparent. So now if I would like, I can actually throw in a different background image. So I have a couple different HDR files that I can load in here. So here, let's load in one of these. Go into Photoshop, and then since it's transparent, I just put it behind there, and that's where we can actually throw in the different background images as well. And again, I can use the different material maps for further photo compositing as well, but this is how you can add in the custom backgrounds and whatnot, and really dial in that final look and render that you would like. So that was one of the other cool features of Enscape 3.3. The next one that we have is our material override feature. I'm a huge material guy, so I really like this feature. So let's say for our brick pattern, if you want to sit there and swap out different materials or different Enscape materials to try out, it was kind of hard to go back and assign a material and whatnot. So with Enscape 3.3, if you open up the Enscape material editor, let's say we go to this brick exterior, and I want to replace the bricks on here. Now if I hover over that, there's these three little dots that pull up. If I click the drop down, there's going to be this replace with Enscape material. So what this is going to do is this is going to launch the Enscape material editor. And now since we're working with brick, I want to see what some different types of bricks look on my model. So if I just click the one brick, I'm going to see the new changes applied to that. Now it's not 100% confirmed yet because I haven't hit replace yet. So this is where I can just sit here and try a couple different materials from the Enscape material library that I would like. Now if I just keep flipping to, and I'm going to try a couple more here. Let's try this brick one. So I really like this brick one and I want to use it. All I have to do is hit replace. So what this is going to do is this is going to replace just the appearance tab of my Revit material. So it's not going to mess with my naming convention. It's not going to mess with my surface patterns or anything like that. It's just going to replace just the appearance tab, which is in return just this appearance path inside this Enscape material editor. And since our Enscape material is live linking and bidirectional with the Revit material editor, again, whatever changes I make inside of here are going to push back inside of Revit. So to show you guys what that looks like, if I select this brick, we'll see the new changes. And again, it just affected just the appearance tab. So here's the new materials. Again, didn't mess with the naming convention at all. If I had surface patterns applied to this, it wouldn't affect those at all. So that's a way where you can quickly switch out different materials from the Enscape material editor. We can even try another one so you guys can see how that looked. Let's go inside here. Let's do like an interior one. So let's say I want to replace some tiles right here. If I go back to my Enscape material editor, let's say it's tile, I know this one's tile 20. So again, let's try what some different tiles are. We'll see what these ones look like. Those look, pretty good like that. The terrazzo ones, those ones are pretty cool. Here's the one that's already applied to it. But let's stick with, let's say I want to go with this marble one. No, I like it. So again, all I have to do is hit replace, and again, it's just going to replace just the images here, not messing with the names or anything like that. And if I need to, I can go further edit these as well, just by changing the scale or the rotation as well. Again, further customization within here of any of those materials. So that's where we can start utilizing this tool to our advantage and quickly see some new changes, try different materials out. So one of the other features that we introduced in 3.3 was the camera synchronization for Revit. So all of our different design applications have this feature. Revit was the last one to get it, and now it's finally here. So all I have to do is back inside of Revit is hit this camera synchronization view. So what this is going to do is this is going to keep my Revit view and my Enscape view intact. So now when I rotate around, I can see the exact view as well. So very powerful to keep the two views intact and being able to see, exactly what space I'm in and where I am within my Revit model inside of Enscape as well. Some things that we did under the hood for 3.3, we introduced, oh cool, back over here. One of the new things that we introduced in 3.3 was transparent surfaces and reflections. So this is where we're going to be able to see, previously inside of Enscape, transparent materials were really hard to see inside of reflections. So with Enscape 3.3, we introduced the ability to see actual transparent materials inside of reflections now. So that's when you navigate around inside Enscape 3.3 now, transparent surfaces are going to start showing up inside reflections. And then one new thing that came out with our preview version of 3.4, our reflections are get even more further improved. So be on the lookout for that in Enscape 3.4. You can try out the preview version on our forum, like Dan mentioned. We just released that today, the preview version at least. So definitely go over and try that out. Another cool feature for Enscape 3.3 was, so with each new release, we're going to get a bunch of new assets. So with this release, we focused on educational assets. So inside of our asset library, if you launch Enscape for the first time, if you launch Enscape 3.3 for the first time, you'll see a new tab down on the bottom, or this new tab right here will have all the new educational assets. Since I've been working with it for a little bit, it's no longer new for me. So what you can do is you can filter by education, and you'll see our new education materials as well. So we have about 101 new educational focused materials, and then we even have like a skate park in there. So a lot of cool new assets. That's something that's always being updated with each new release of Enscape. There's going to be a bunch of new assets for us to choose and play with, and materials as well. So that was an overview of some of the new 3.3 features. You can open up, here we go. Now let's go switch gears and share my PowerPoint slide. So if you want to try Enscape 3.3, we have a free, so head over to DDS to get the free trial. Dan, did you want to say anything?
No, I mean, yeah, I think, it's available for a free 14-day trial. So if you're new to Enscape, or if you'd like to try out the new version, definitely, as Josh said, head over to dds.com. Josh, you want to go to the next slide? I also did want to mention that we are in development of a Macintosh version of Enscape. So if you're using Rhino for Mac or SketchUp for Mac, Vectorworks or AutoCAD in conjunction with your Revit workflow, there is currently an open beta for SketchUp. You can download a free working version of Enscape running on SketchUp here at enscape3d.com/Enscape for Mac. So if you know anyone, or if you're using in your office any kind of Mac, SketchUp and Mac, the Mac version of SketchUp and Revit, we encourage you to do that as well. But I think with that, we can kind of open it up to questions, Josh.
Okay, perfect. All right, so the first question I had here, what are the system requirements to run Enscape with Revit?
So great question. So Enscape is a GPU rendering engine, so it's going to take all that information on the graphics card. So our minimum system requirements to run Enscape are a 4 gig graphics card. So we can actually, so if we head over to our knowledge base, over here. So if we head over to our knowledge base and we go to administration here, and then go to system requirements, you can see the system requirements as well for what we recommend. So again, minimum is 4. Planning to get the VR, we'd like to see at least an 8 gig video card. And then also, like Dan mentioned, with that open beta for Mac, we do have the system requirements for running SketchUp on Mac.
Perfect. All right, next question here. And remember, if anybody does have any questions, please feel free to drop those in the questions box. Next one here, if we put people from Enscape Asset Library into a project for our company's sales and marketing publication purposes, will there be any copyright/portrait right issues?
No. Great question, actually. No, it's not. You just can't sell the assets, obviously, but no, you can do that just fine. No copyright laws.
Okay, perfect. Next question, what other design software does Enscape work with?
Great question. So we work with Revit, SketchUp, Rhino, AutoCAD, and Vectorworks. And it's one installer for those 5 different programs. So if you have all of them installed, you don't need like Enscape for Revit or Enscape for SketchUp. It's just you install Enscape, and once you install it, it'll detect which design applications you have that we support, and it'll just install it for all those. So you can just jump from different program to different program and launch Enscape.
Okay, another one we had here. What type of Enscape licenses are there? Single user, multi-user?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we have fixed seat licenses. So as the name suggests, that license is fixed to the one machine. So it's fingerprinted to the machine. So it works really well for sole practitioners or in offices where there's just one designer that's going to be using Enscape. That fixed license can still work with all of the CAD programs. So it's not limited just to Revit. It's just limited to that one machine. We have that fixed license available in a monthly flavor, so you can, all Enscape is sold on subscriptions, so you can have a monthly subscription or an annual subscription on the fixed license. And then there's also a floating license, which is really just a network license, where you buy a license and then you can buy additional seats depending on the number of designers you have in your office. And then that license key can float between all of those designers. So more than one person can access Enscape on any machine in the office.
I think that's all we've got here. So Josh, if you can jump back to the PowerPoint for the last slide. Had a couple closing notes. Okay, so thank you both first, Dan and Josh, for being here today with us and for showing us around.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
And like I said, this meeting was this webcast was recorded, so definitely check that out in the next couple of days. If you do need to contact us for any reason, 305-445-6480 is our phone number here, and our email is info@dbscad.com, and we're here for any of your training support needs, and if you're interested in pricing, purchasing, anything like that. So thank you all for being here. Have a great afternoon.
One just kind of closing note is for any architects that are in the audience, we will be at the AIA show in Chicago. So if you want to stop by and visit Josh and I at the AIA show, we'd love to meet you.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you guys very much.
Perfect. Thank you.
Have a good one, guys.